Folks, so I'm going to please subscribe and click notifications. Today we did 3 top picks this morning. That's going to be sporadic when I do that, but if you used a little bit of process associated with it, you could have done quite well this morning with Fudo. So let's just get into the ideas that are out there that are coming through on the Twitter. So you have CLVS. And I'm looking at this, and we cleared our resistance right here, right, 995, and let's throw the indicators in because this is interesting on this one. So is the volume. So what did we do today? We tested this, okay, this is our support at 995. Our low of the day was what? All right, 995. So this was to the penny on where our stop was. So that's just kind of crazy, but so you can see how this works, but why these key levels of support and resistance are so important. But so here you are at 1163, and we're just not getting there yet. But we have these moving averages, and they're pointing up, and now we're getting the big guys to cross, right? Now we're going to get the 50 to cross through the 200 to the upside, and this usually means a much larger trend is coming, and this volume coming in is huge. This is a really big volume. So this stock is being acquired. And at this point, I would be buying closer to this $10 range if we get another shot. And I really wouldn't be chasing it for the dollar here. I'd be waiting to see if it breaks 1163 and then can keep going forward. So CRSR is just one that constantly just disappoints, right? So we gap open, and everybody thinks it's really going to go this time, and what does it do? It just goes right through resistance and breaks it, bounces from here, and now we're all over the place. And I do want to say something, and maybe we'll be able to look at it. When the indexes are near the top of the channel, and it's the large channel that's been out there for like a decade, you're going to see that your trades are not going to work as well. They work better when you're on the low end of the channels. So like you could see last week how many things worked well versus your new positions this week. You'll start to see that your accuracy will drop off. So just keep that in mind. But so you gap up here, everybody's doing cartwheels, and then what happens? We just cut through. You really need to see how this closes. If you're in this right now, would I buy this? No. You could have tried something at the 8. But what you really need to see is you need to see what's going on here and how this is going to play out. I need to see this close, but I would not run into this right now. So EH is doing exactly what we thought it would do, right? Just sitting there. Opened below this and came right back into it. Where did it stop? Right here. So nothing has changed since we've been looking at this. What we need to see, and I see this small little wedge, and I see that we broke it, but who cares? I need to get through this major one. And that's what we're having trouble with right now. So right now you can see that really would put us about 83.50. A move through 83.50, 84, 84 and a quarter would really propel us higher. Fubo, not one person sent me this one today, which I thought was kind of really interesting. It usually means it's going to go again. So this line is from before. Here's our support line, right? We have these in here from before, and look at what happened here. What's the low? 44.57. So I'm 20 cents off on the low on this, and I'm respecting this trend line. Now I'm at the high of the day, and I'm bumping against the 8 and the 5. Do I buy it now? No, you missed this, right? But now you've encapsulated this bar. So now I have a bullish engulfing on a support level. So tomorrow we could take a look at it and see if there's a spot that we could jump in that might make sense. But right now it just doesn't make any sense to do that. So, but I do think that you could look maybe for a possible setup and another push to the 52.50. I still believe we're going back to $62. NIO, so, we've been watching this, and just for disclosure purposes, I guess, and people always ask me what I buy. I added to this today. This was perfect, and this is why it's so important for you to have your levels down and know where they are every day when everybody's jumping around. So yesterday you could see how we got above this trend, and this trend's from battery day, and we trimmed up here. We've been in this thing since $48. So but we trimmed, right? And we're going to really drill into this. So you can see how we got above this, and that was a clear sign. See where the open is? Right there. Where all these things converging? Where's the top of this channel? The low of the day. I mean, it doesn't get any clearer of a buy signal. And then on top of that, what we saw, let's go to the 1 minute for a moment. And get to where I'm looking for. Okay, this is this morning. Look at the amount of volume that came in this to drive this forward. And if you go back and you look at what's been going on, we've had no volume whatsoever. So this was a clear indication that this was changing. And so that gave us the opportunity to buy that. And how did we buy that? Through our process. And we just implemented the process, and then we went with the trade. So I think that that's ready to go. I really do. That NIL, I think we're getting there. So this overstock, I got a bunch of questions about this, I guess because of what's going on with Bitcoin. Look, we got in at $78. I stated to trim, I believe, at the 95 level. I even reiterated when we did that. Now I'm looking at this that 95 could be another trigger to buy. I mean, it definitely was, right? I mean, where are we now? 103. So 103 went to 106. So there's another 10 points there. But what you need to look for is this is the goal, right? That's our goal. Are we on track? Yes. What do you do with it? Nothing. Sit down. There's nothing to do here. If you did this trade accurately, there is nothing to do here. You should have trimmed here. You could have added at 95, and now if you flip the 94, 95 level, that's probably going to be our stop, candidly. If we break that 95, we're probably out of it. And then we'll look to add to it again, probably shortly, if that happens. But I like this, and I think 128 is going to happen. So in regards to Planter, so I walked through this one earlier today on the top 3 list, and it just never really triggered for me. So I'll show you the chart on the hourly. So you see how we broke out, and now we're like sitting there? We're still on the low of this, so nothing's really changed. We haven't broken 36.20. If you drill down into this, right, you could see we just landed there. Now this line was drawn before we even opened, and you can see how we respected it. So it's important to have these key levels in, because then you can make decisions. Someone could have bought there based upon a simple 1 minute chart, right? So I mean, just drill down into it. So here we are. Here's that key level that we know is there. Here's your little reversal. And then we would just look to see if we had volume on the follow through. And guess what we have? A little boomerang right there. And so that gets you an entry point. And then you could be in it from here. But this one didn't trigger for me. I was looking for a 15-minute move just based upon where the indexes were. And it just never really did it. It just gave me this range. And I just watch it. So I wasn't that excited. I was more excited out of those top 3 that I gave, hold on 1 second. Giving me there we go. So I was more excited about this because it gave a clear indication on what was going on, right? Look at the open and look at the low. Look at this bar. Look at the volume that's coming into this, right? So, I mean, this is pretty substantial, and you can see that. And that's really what this one triggered for me. I thought this was a lot cleaner and a lot simpler. So I went with that one, and I would have done all of them if they triggered right, but they just didn't. They just didn't trigger right, and that's why I say you have to really look at your process. This BNGO was in there, and we're not below this line. This is still working, but there's too many other things out there right now that are working, and why waste my time or money? So I mean, I looked at this 15-minute range, and I'm like, wow, we can't really even get above it. Why do I want to be involved? I'll let it gap fill, which is pretty much what it's going to try and do, and it has done. See how we fill this gap? And maybe we'll curl later in the day, and then I'll take a look at it. So let's just keep rocking and rolling here. So this is Riot, and we already have this in. These are setting up. I mean, they're moving obviously on the Bitcoin. Here's your break. and here's your run. I mean, if you're fortunate enough to be in this from $20, $21, I seriously hope that you're selling into this. You know, you've really just got to go back and look at history and what transpired here before. But, you know, could this, well, let's just look at a weekly. I think we get a better picture, right? So just look at this. I mean, that's a solid breakout, but look at the low volume, but it is early in the week. But let's just go back. I mean, we really got above this, which is great. You're getting into pretty frothy territory, and the reversal, when it happens, will be pretty vicious. So just keep that in mind. And keep in those stocks you want to play them, that's great. Just keep tight stops on them and move your stop up. This had decent news the other day and then broke out on it, SRNE. And you know, we have these lines set for a reason. We held major support, major resistance is right here. This is our target. I mean, I really don't see a need to do anything. For some reason, 17 is our nemesis, and we have to get through it, and we're just having a hard time with it. So, you know, let's see how that plays out, but I wouldn't touch that until we get to 17. So Tilray, this is in the newsletter stock, obviously. We got in at $22 right around here, and, you know, we've done exceptionally well with it. We watched it all along this line and hold, and then we had this line, right, which was on the weekly, which was our first target. And we just gapped, and that's from back here, right? All the way from the inception of the stock. And we just gapped it. So, I mean, most likely the target's going to be moved up into the 50s. I do think that we could, you know, play around a little bit. They have to print out new option contracts either today or tomorrow, or figure out how they're going to handle that because they're out of strikes right now. So that can really, you know, cause a gamma squeeze on this and continue the move up. VERI we talked about before, and here you are, 35.79, 38, boom, boom, boom. It just keeps stepping, right? Support becomes resistance, resistance becomes support. You can just see how they flip, right? Boom, boom. So here we go again, and we're breaking out. The volume's kind of falling off. It's kind of losing its luster a little bit. And you're really having trouble with this little 48.25 level. So I would just see how this plays out. I mean, this does not seem something that you have to jump into right now. You can wait a little bit. It's had a monster move, and you know, I would just be cautious about getting into something like this far off these moving averages and with a declining volume. So that's VERI. I'll put that up in here. So that's it. Any questions, just give me a call as usual, or a text or email, whatever works.